I think last time the Lakers got a Gasol, it worked out pretty well. So I would expect nothing less here. Marc Gasol got a lot of life left in him. To go from JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard to Gasol and his ability to step out, shoot the ball, plus he's one of the smartest, most cerebral players and an all-around great human being. I've known him since he was 12 years old when we drafted Powell in Memphis, and Mark used to hold my daughter when my wife went to the restroom in the family room. Goes way back.
Wow. Thank you so much for that visual, Tom. All right, Steve Smith, your thoughts.
Well, I'll add everything that Tom says. And I think also, like, you add his passing ability. We know his shooting. I mean, I think he's a great fit. They lose some athleticism, but that's why they acquired Montrezl Harrell. But you start talking about pass, cut, catch, and the skillful things the big guy can do. This is going to be a great fit for the Los Angeles Lakers.
All right, speaking of JaVale McGee, at the buzzer, let's check out what exactly is going on around the NBA. Yep, it happened. JaVale McGee has now he's going to the Cavaliers. They acquire him from the Lakers. We talked a little bit about how that changes the Lakers. Well, good news for the Cavs. Reported free agent signings. Look at this. Austin Rivers going to New York, Bazemore back to Golden State, Boucher on the move, Hernan Gomez also, and Baines with the Raptors. You can see people are trying to make things happen, guys. Free agency is underway. Teams are trying to get to the playoffs or get to the championship. I cannot wait to see how this all unfolds and evolves as we continue to watch what happens headed towards training camp on December 1. All right, guys, quick thoughts on what we saw here happening today. Tom?
Everybody better hurry up. Hurry up. Not much time left. Training camp's like tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I'm with Tom. Make sure you hurry up and make sure you find you some places, some homes, campus.
All right, guys. Appreciate your time. For Tom Penn and Steve Smith and our entire Game Time crew, I'm Stephanie Reddy. Thanks for trying to help their young all-star Trae Young find some success. Tom, what do you think about these additions?
They're right on time. You look at the Hawks roster, 6 players in double figures last year, all 24 and under. Jabari Parker, the oldest of the group. Of course, it's all about Trae Young and how they complement around his brilliance. You bring in players like Rondo, Gallinari. If they can keep Bogdanovich, it's a great addition. The whole slate of veteran talent that's added just helps this young core now get more than those 20 wins, right? Can they more than double those 20 wins? Can they get into the playoff hunt and make some noise? It's time to add veterans with that cap space. None of them are bad contracts. The real question is whether they're going to be able to keep Bogdanovich, because I don't know why Sacramento wouldn't match that deal.
That's a very interesting point. We have to always keep that in mind, that it is an offer sheet. It is not an actual deal. As you mentioned, Sacramento does have the opportunity to match that and retain Bogdanovich. Steve Smith, what do you think? The Hawks, they're trying to make moves, power moves.
Yeah, I look at it, a team that's 20 and 47 with a lot of young guys. Is either the Hawks organization saying we're going for it now, or they're saying some of these young guys, we brought in some competitive guys that go get after defensively for Trae Young. I think it's fantastic. Everything he needs to learn about the point guard position, it definitely be a sponge with Rondo. You're talking about defense, you're talking about leadership. And we all know he's a competitor, but I look at the Cam Reddishes, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, and all those young guys at the wing. When you start talking about Bogdanovich and some of these other guys, there's not a lot of room. So they're saying right now by December 1st, they're going to have a lot of competition, and they're going to see how it shakes out. And when you have competition, it usually brings this fire and this competitiveness. You usually win games. Hope this all works out for the Hawks.
That's a really good point. And Tom, speaking of Rondo, what do you think his experiences with the Lakers this past season have brought to him in terms of being that veteran, that mentor, that non-starting point guard for a team?
Well, it's a different challenge this time around, going to Atlanta and truly mentoring a young player versus being a complimentary star amongst stars. Totally different. Look, Rajon Rondo is looking to transition his career, sunset his career after this next run here. Apparently wants to coach, He's a really, really cerebral player and has been a good pro recently, throughout all of his career with one exception in Dallas. So I think him in the mix, in the backcourt, if he's aligned with the coaching staff, and is just all value add for Trae Young.
It's going to be interesting. I cannot wait to see what happens. As you guys know, the season is just around the corner. We have so much more to get into on this free agency fever edition of, and of course, we're going to talk some Denver Nuggets here. So for that, we're going to welcome in our friend Mike Singer, who is the beat writer for the Denver Nuggets, working for the Denver Post. Mike, we appreciate your time. I know you've been exceptionally busy right here these last few days. Let's get right into it. Free agency has been on fire the last several days, but for the Denver Nuggets, they lost a key part of their puzzle in Jeremy Grant. Can you give us the latest on his situation?
Yeah, there's no other way to say it. The Denver Nuggets were blindsided by what happened Friday night when Jeremy Grant decided to leave Denver for Detroit. 3-year, $60 million deal. What's crazy is that the Nuggets, I'm told, was offered the Nuggets offered Jeremy Grant the exact same contract, same amount of money, same amount of length, and yet Jeremy Grant opted to go to Detroit. This shook the Nuggets. They were not prepared for this. But to their credit, they moved quickly. Friday night, they reached a deal with JaMychal Green, free agent forward who spent the last 2 seasons with the Los Angeles Clippers. And actually, the Denver Nuggets ousted JaMychal Green in the postseason. And then a day later, they signed Paul Millsap for 1 year, $10 million. So they quickly moved to replace Jeremy Grant, even if it's not a seamless fit. Because of all the things that Jeremy Grant did, the defensive versatility, but with what they were faced with, the Nuggets absolutely did what they could.
And they continue to try to fill out their roster in this free agency period. They went to an international player in Campazzo. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, this is a 29-year-old point guard who's played with Real Madrid since 2014, was actually teammates with Luka Doncic there. He's only 5'11", but he is one of the best passing point guards in Europe. And the Nuggets have been on him for a long time. And even though he's only 5'11", they view him as a guy who can play alongside Monte Morris or Jamal Murray, who can play in that backcourt because he's a sort of plays bigger than he actually is on defense, and he's just a wizard on offense. So I think that the Nuggets really enjoy thinking about pairing him with Nikola Jokic, obviously the best passing big man in the NBA, and seeing what kind of magic they can create. And this is classic Denver Nuggets. They look overseas, they find value where there is, where there's value to be found, and they take advantage of it. So I think Nuggets fans are going to be thrilled to see what this guy can do.
Sounds exciting. You mentioned some magic. We saw the Denver Nuggets. They sort of exploded inside the bubble for the fans who were not watching the Nuggets during the regular season. We saw Michael Porter Jr. really come and show up on the stage. What are your expectations for him this season?
What's funny is that so much more is going to be asked of Michael Porter Jr. as a result of the Jeremy Grant decision. Michael Porter Jr. will, in all likelihood, be in the starting lineup. They are going to count on him to obviously knock down his threes, crash the glass. He's an elite rebounder. But really where the spotlight is going to be is on the defensive end for Michael Porter Jr. He grew leaps and bounds throughout the postseason, basically because he was being targeted on defense, and he knew he had to lock in on that end. So it's going to be fascinating to see kind of that push-pull and the trust that he can gain with Nuggets coach Michael Malone, who has essentially said, if you don't play defense, you're not going to be on the court. So the onus is on Michael Porter Jr. to get better in a hurry on that end, because we all know what he can do on the offensive end.
We saw the Nuggets explode. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, they didn't get as far as they would like, but we know they've got a great nucleus in Jamal Murray and Jokic. What are you expecting for them to do? Can they continue that run and sustain improvement?
Yeah, I mean, they've improved every single year under Nuggets coach Michael Malone. It's kind of unbelievable. Their win total has gone up every single year. You know, 3 years ago, it was game 82 they lost, or that was 2 years ago. Then last season they lost in the second round. and a heartbreaker at home to Portland this past year. They get all the way to the Western Conference Finals. This is a team whose confidence is growing, whose confidence is budding, and it completely aligns with the trajectory of their two stars, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. I don't think there was any question that Nikola Jokic, who finished fourth in MVP voting last season, was already a superstar. But what we saw from Jamal Murray and taking that leap and becoming more consistent,